everyone. It's Dr. Arlene Diamco, the MultiDimensional MD. Thanks for joining me for episode 145, Misunderstandings and How They Affect Your Health. So my mission is to bring back the intuitive aspects of health in practical and tangible ways so that you can experience more peace, love, and joy in your everyday lives and access deeper healing. And today I wanted to talk about misunderstandings in your health because it's something that's come up all week in my office, in my life, for me too. And misunderstandings basically create imbalances within us such that our body, mind, and spirit are not aligned. So I'm going to go through layer by layer, body, mind, spirit, and show you how you can clear up misunderstandings. This combines a couple of big concepts that I work with every day and I talk about a lot. So one is being seen and heard, because all health requires you to be seen and heard. This is our conscious human experience. We really look and crave to be seen and heard, first for ourselves and then with others. And being seen and heard helps us connect with other people. And the second concept is how the health is in the flow. So we are meant to flow through life. And it's only when we kind of get stuck in things. So things are not flowing in the body, things are not flowing in the mind, things are not flowing with spirit, that we feel these imbalances. We feel off balance. And I'm going to go through ways that you can look at that, help you to understand it more and clear up the misunderstandings. So the first is the body, misunderstanding messages of the body. If you listen to the smoldering or kind of simmering signs and symptoms, then maybe you can prevent a fire, because the signs and symptoms of your body are just your body's way of communicating with you. And it takes some practice to learn to listen to them and to understand what they mean. So I love talking people through this in appointments and with you now, because this is how you can see and feel how empowering it is. You have the ability to free yourself and reclaim any trapped energy in the body. Your body works so hard for you to contain things that you're not ready to deal with, but it will send you reminders as signs and symptoms. So for example, you might feel a weight on your neck and shoulders or on your chest. Maybe you have some tension in your hips and pelvis. So if you just take a moment to pause and then breathe into that area, wherever you're feeling the heaviness or the tension, what do you feel there? So just listen. And sometimes I was just walking, I mean, many patients all day long through this. And so sometimes when you first start to listen, you might consciously be breathing through, and then you might notice that sometimes you want to stop breathing. And those are clues there, because if you feel like you want to stop breathing or you don't want to breathe as much, it's chances are something is wanting to bubble up to the surface, and it's something that is maybe somewhat uncomfortable to deal with mentally, emotionally. So I would encourage you to continue just to gently breathe into it, be patient, and to let whatever would like to surface to come to the light. And we'll just use the example of frustration. So do you feel frustrated? So maybe it's easy to see like something happened your day that made you frustrated. So breathe into that. And usually things aren't just from that moment. They'll be related to other things that happened to you throughout your life. So what else comes up? Does it remind you of anything from the past? Sometimes current frustrations will surface old ones. And if you can just very gently see how the present creates an opportunity for you to digest old hurts, to more fully process them, to metabolize them. So this is the flow. So instead of being stuck at the peak of the wave, it will help you to metabolize them. So it brings it to the surface so you can see it. So if you want to clean up, then sometimes you have to be able to see what there is to process. It needs to come to the surface. So all you have to do is breathe through and give some space for whatever bubbles up to exist so that your body doesn't have to store them for you anymore. So those frustrations can get stored into the tension of your body, into the symptoms. And those are what your body is trying to use to communicate to you, like, hey, I haven't fully processed this. One day when you're ready, could you help me out so I can feel more aligned in body, mind, and spirit? Because sometimes I'll see people who are really great at organizing or maybe really great thinkers. Their minds can say, oh, I'm over it. But the body has another idea, doesn't necessarily follow logic, even because it might be something so silly that you're like, why would that even bother me? But the body might say, hey, it still does. And so, very gently, you will allow your consciousness to create this space for whatever needs to surface. And then your breath allows that to process, to more fully metabolize, so it doesn't have to remain stuck in your body. Your loving, non judgmental awareness creates this huge nest for this to occur. So you can always go back and listen to this again and then follow through and see what you come up with for yourself. And of course, if you need further help with that, I'm here for you. Next, we move on to misunderstandings in the mind. So, for this, I wanted to focus on misunderstanding your purpose. So, not being clear about your purpose or conscious thoughts, which turn into conscious action. So, not feeling conscious, I guess, not living consciously. So, sometimes people mistake their purpose as people pleasing. People pleasing is a protection mechanism. So maybe it has a purpose in that way as a protection, but it is not necessarily what I would consider a higher purpose because you don't usually, sit down and journal or meditate and think, what can I do to people please today? Maybe that's what the ego mind does to create this protection mechanism, but it's not, again, a higher purpose. So you can think about this for anything you do. For example, why do you give a present? Do you give someone a present because you're afraid to upset someone if you don't give them a present? Do you give them a present in hopes that they will like you? So those all have some sort of agendas to them. Or do you give a present because you love someone and so you see it has so much freedom to it? You give a present out of love. And sure, it may have multiple purposes to it. There might be needs and things, but the main purpose is through love. So you can infuse this into anything that you do. Why do you make dinner? Is it out of obligation? Well, yes, you don't want your family to starve. Do you make it so someone is not upset? They come home hangry and they really want to eat? Or did you do it because you love your family or maybe a little bit of all of the above, but you see how you want that bigger overarching purpose to be something deeper, like all kind of coming from love, like a heart-centered purpose. So here's some other examples. So I have a bunch of trips coming up and made some plans of what to pack and what we're going to be doing. And of course, some plans don't always hold together. Some of them can fall apart. So I had to step back and ask myself, what is the purpose? And often with these trips, the purpose is to connect and have a good time. So is there a different way to approach this? I was asking myself, like, I have to coach myself through things. So is there a different way I can approach this and still be aligned with this purpose? Yes. So I had to step into the ease, like, what's difficult here? What's making this feel like it's hard? And where is the ease? Oh, I don't need so many material things. I don't need to worry about packing so much stuff to connect with people. So the most important thing is to be present and to be with people, and everything else is maybe it can be helpful, but it's not the main purpose. It's not the driving purpose. The stuff isn't the driving purpose. So you can start to see what I'm talking about, just like from giving all these different examples. A friend of mine had something similar, or a patient of mine had something similar, a family trip planned and then fell apart because the whole family was supposed to go, whole extended family trip. And but there was something else emerging. So you had to step back and see, well, and trust in the life process that, if this happened, even though it's disappointing that we all can't go together as a family, maybe there's something else that's supposed to happen. Um, maybe I'm supposed to go on this trip, but in a different way, or maybe the whole family doesn't have to go. Maybe I need a break and I get to go on a trip on my own without the whole family. So, looking at it in different ways, then you can see, oh, there's beauty in how things are unfolding, even if it isn't exactly how you plan for it to be, even as if it seemed disappointing initially. So when you have those disappointing moments or difficulties or any challenges, then I've talked about this before, but this is what I do. I'll take that into my fist and I'll hold it because that's what you're doing. You're holding it all bunched up like this. And then I will gently open that up and I'll keep breathing. And I'll just give that up to the stillness, to reconnect with that joy and beauty that are emerging, even though something might seem frustrating. So that takes us to aligning body, mind, and spirit. This is such a great practice too, because here you are, you feel it physically, you're breathing it, and your mind, you're consciously letting it go to spirit, trusting that things are unfolding as they are supposed to, that something is emerging through whatever difficulties there are, and something that is still beautiful, and there's still joy, and there's still love. It doesn't mean that there aren't hurts. It doesn't mean there aren't challenges. It doesn't mean that you aren't frustrated or angry or sad. It doesn't mean any of those things. It just means that there is more to it than that. And there's also something loving, and there's also something constantly supporting you through the process. So when we get to understanding, aligning body, mind, and spirit, this is really feeling more of that oneness. So when things get heated or there are difficult conversations to be had, then what I like to consider is, how can I approach this in a loving way? How can I approach this in a loving way? Because sometimes we have to deal with difficult things, and that's okay. If we can't avoid it, and this is part of the misunderstanding, is that we might avoid things that are uncomfortable at first, but your body will remind you, your mind will even remind you. Sometimes you feel down, and that's like a turning inward to remind you to tend to yourself. And then spirit is always there, guiding you, helping you. So it's helping you through love, and it's constantly encouraging you, how can I look at this through love? So again, when body, mind, and spirit are aligned, you feel more balanced. And one of the connectors there is through your breathing, through your breath. Inspire literally means to breathe in spirit, and your breath allows also that spirit to flow, because you breathe in and out, and you let that spirit flow through you by breathing in and out, and that health is in the flow. So when you're unsure what to do, check in with yourself. Check in with your breath. Are you breathing? Check in with your body. Where do you feel that tension there? And then breathe into that and be patient and listen, so that you can clear up any misunderstandings and you can realign body, mind, and spirit, and really step into that ease and health that is you. That is you, more fully you, your being coming all together. So I hope that helps you in some way. If you have any questions, you need help with this in a deeper way, then come see me. You can leave comments, and I'm happy to get back to them. You can also connect with me on Instagram at All Worlds Health, on Facebook, All Worlds Health and Pediatrics. And I'll send my e-love letters out once a week on Wednesdays. You can find me on my website, allworldshealth.com, and you can sign up for those there. So please, I love to interact with you. I love to hear from you. And I'm always so pleasantly surprised by who is out there, because I'm talking out into the camera and I have no idea who is listening unless you let me know. And those are like little gifts to me when you surprise me with your comments or connecting with me and letting me know what you you get out of each of these episodes, and which are your favorites, and anything about how we can connect. I would love to hear. So lots of love to you. I believe in you, so I hope that you believe in you too. And I will see you next week on another episode of the Multidimensional MD, 11 a.m. Eastern Time.